Hi, everybody. This is Matt Hawes of the Happy Show of Comics Limited in Evansville, Indiana. As many of you who follow me realize, of course, I am a comic book artist, but not professionally, though I have done some work, that I've gotten paid for, so technically professional, I guess, at some point, but not for any of the major companies or anything like that. And also, I am a comic book dealer slash retailer slash vendor, however you want to parse it. I had a shop from 1996 to 2014. Did well and would be, presumably still be open to this day, even with the pandemic and all that, except for the fact that I wanted to have more freedom. So I went ahead and decided to sell online, which I make the same kind of take home pay, so to speak, except for that I don't have the overheads. And I still do conventions, regular conventions. In fact, I got about three more or four more this year. There was another one added on, so let's see, we got two in August and one in October and one in December, four more. Um, and so I got those four shows I had set up for a period of time for a number of years. I have flea market and such, so I still regularly make my living. In fact, it's the only way I make my living. I don't have any other kind of job. That's how I make my living and have done so like I said, since 1996, and even before that, I was selling comic books, and so that's been my predominant thing. I wanted to be an artist when I grew up. I am an artist, but I still want to work professionally as an artist, and still aspire to do that even at my late age. And I have plans to publish some books, self-publish at this point, some books with some ideas I have in mind. So I have those projects which I've referred to or such alluded to in other videos that I want to squeeze in there in between doing my day job, so to speak. And and so the reason I brought this up is because one of the other things, obviously, that I wanted to do when I was growing up was to have a comic shop. I thought at one point I would, get an art career and then have a comic shop on the side or some such thing, which is kind of a crazy thought if you run a business, especially a small business, where you're pretty much the staff. Even if in my case, I was the staff. It was pretty much a one man operation. But even if you have a small enough business, but you have other people helping you, you're still pretty much devoted to that business. And so it's almost laughable to think that I could maintain a full career on the one and do a full run shop on the other. Presumably, if I had been able to do that, I would have had to have a art career that would have made me self sufficient on where I had just enough money to have somebody else run the shop or whatever. Anyway, that's not the main point of my video. That's just giving you some background and some kind of information on where I'm coming from. Um, because really, it's my videos about, of all things, CGC, which is Comics Guarantee Corporation, or sort of. Anyway, I forget what the acronym exactly stands for. I should know. I mean, it's been around a good amount of time. It didn't when I first opened my shop in '96. It wasn't a thing. It's something that came up, I guess, in the late '80s, late '80s, late '90s, excuse me, late '90s, early 2000s. I think early 2000. I opened in the mid late '90s, but like I said, it wasn't around then. But I know it was somewhere around the early 2000s. I didn't bother to research that, but you can look it up if you're curious. But when it came along, there had already been grading companies for cards and other such things, and to me, I never was a fan of grading comics in the strictest sense. I'm kind of in a position where I have to deal with CGC stuff because I'm a dealer. I'm not a collector anymore because once I became a dealer, vendor, retailer, um, I it's like you can't. They have that thing where you can't be a dealer and do your own drugs, so to speak. So I can't, if I had maintained a collection, it would interfere with me selling the books and that sort of thing, which is why I had to make the hard decision not to be a collector. So I'm bringing this up for a reason. I'm not a collector. I'm not a speculator. I'm not an investor. Never was really into speculating or investing. I collected and I preach this to a lot of people that you buy what you enjoy. If it becomes valuable as a bonus, then that's a bonus. You still enjoy it even if it doesn't become valuable. If you buy something just because you're looking to make money off of it and then it doesn't pan out, then you kind of resent the whole thing. I've seen that happen where people, say, "Well, they ain't worth nothing." Blah blah blah. It's like, well, was it worth something to you? I guess not, because there was no intrinsic value to them if they were only getting it for the money. And to me, CGC, when it comes to grading comics, it's about making it a commodity, just simply about the value of the book, because you can't read it. It's slabbed in plastic, it's sealed in plastic, and it's worthless, or not worth what they graded at, supposedly, if it's broken out of that plastic. Now, like I said, the dilemma in my situation is being a dealer, a retailer, all that. Whatever word you want to use for me now, because retailer, I don't really have a shop, but I still sell online. Anyway, I gotta sell to everybody. I sell to readers. I sell to collectors, which are readers that hold on to their books, in my view. It's distinct from investors and speculators. I sell to the whole base. I have to, because I don't want to exclude anybody, but also it is about making a living out of it. Now, for me, it's not just about making money, because otherwise I would have chosen to do comics. If anything, I mean, though there is a good enough money that I've been able to make a living doing so, there's a lot of other areas of business I could have went into that probably would have been more of a money maker if it was just about the money. That said, I'm a bit of a purist, like I said, and so I don't totally like the idea of CGC, but I have dealt with it. And of course, if I get a collection of comics and all that, and they have CGC books, I'm going to sell those books. I'm not going to chuck them to the side or whatever, because I don't have a appreciation for the existence of CGC as a treating comics as just for its money and value or what have you. Anyway, so the reason I bring this up is I only really sent in submissions to CGC one time before. Now I did decide to do again, and it's one of those things where I have to balance my one view with my business view, because I don't want to be hypocritical about my feelings about CGC. But again, I don't have to like every comic book I sell just because I'm selling it. I'm still, it's that deal of having a certain principle and view on things, but at the same time, still I have to make a living. I have to sell. I sell people what they want, not necessarily what I want. And so I in the past, but I've only submitted up to recently one time to CGC, and that was 15 years ago or something. I can't even tell you the exact date. It was the early 2000s. It was like 2004 or 5, somewhere in the area. And one of the books was a lark, a total lark. The other book was a keepsake. I never intended to resell it. And the other thing was the only thing that might have any value. I wanted to send 3 books because I think there was a minimum of at least 3 books at the time. CGC's rules change, and if somebody's a CGC person out there, they may know all the changes through the years. All I remember, though, is at the time I think I had to send at least 3 books. I think there was some minimum, and this was back in a time when it was cheaper to do so. And anyway, the one book I sent in was Marvel Superheroes #8, where Spider-Man gets his black outfit. I had a really nice copy of that. Don't even remember the grade. I can't tell you the grade I got on that book. It was high grade. I assume it was 9.8 or something like that. And and then the other one was the life story of David Ladd, which was a child actor at the time. His father was Alan Ladd, who was a famous cowboy actor back in the day, and his brother was Alan Ladd Jr., who married Cheryl Ladd, who was a famous sex symbol of the '70s, and Alan Ladd, ran 20th Century Fox and was responsible for greenlighting Star Wars getting made. So that's just a little background for you. But the thing is, David Ladd was not like this huge child star. I mean, he was child star in the early '60s, late '50s, early '60s. But I'm aware enough of pop culture that I can tell you I know he wasn't like it wasn't like a Shirley Temple type level of celebrity. So the fact that they had a life story, Dell Comics put out a book, The Life Story of David Ladd, they must have had some deal with Alan Ladd to get this thing published, or was because of maybe publishing his cowboy movie comics or something. I don't know why they did a life story on a 12-year-old. I just thought it was hilarious. And so it was kind of an in joke with me and people at the store. So I actually just, and this wasn't even a high grade book, it was more mid range grade. And I went ahead and had it graded just for a lark. And then the keepsake was Living with Zombies, number 4, which is my first comic appearance as a character that was actually published, at least. And it was published and nationally distributed. It was written by my friend Matthew Billman and illustrated by him and Christopher Herndon. Excuse me. And so, anyway, that was a keepsake book, which I still have to this day. So, that was the one time I had something that I had actually sent in myself to be graded, and I had a membership that had lapsed because I never went ahead and did anything with it for years. Then eventually on the website, I did get a free membership to go on their boards and such and discuss comics and so on and so forth. But I still had not submitted all these years until just recently, like a couple weeks ago. And I hesitated because partly my feelings towards CGC, where I felt dirty. But at the same time, I have a lot of nice copies of some comics that I just thought, just for fun, let's see what kind of grades. Well, not entirely for fun. Let's be honest. I'm doing it for business reasons. But I also just thought I'll give it a shot again, and this will probably be my. I can't say for certain my only other time I'm going to do this, but uh, to me, again, just I'm not the biggest proponent for it, and also um, the it's so costly anyway. It's ridiculous. I mean, it should go without saying that if you're going to send into one of these companies, first off, you don't want to send in anything that doesn't have any kind of real value to it to begin with. Though a lot of times it seems like people pay ungodly amounts for 9.8 and higher. You don't grade it higher than 10.0, but they pay ungodly amounts, which seems to be just paying for the grade more than anything. Back when I first submitted stuff, that was still early enough. Some people were just simply paying for almost any grade. They were paying a premium. But now you pay so much to get the books graded, you might as well better make sure that A, it's worth a lot of money to begin with, or at least a considerable amount, and that it's in a condition that warrants it, which means it's got to be beautiful, immaculate, or something, unless you just happen to have a really rare book that's only available in low grade. Otherwise, you're throwing your money away in a sense if you're hoping to get graded for a return investment. Um, anyway, so I did sell out to CGC, and I don't have the books yet. I will do, just for fun, I will do one of these unboxing type videos of those. And but I'm bringing this up for a reason. I got this box here, and this is an empty box, but this is a mailing box where they ship me their shipping material. Like nowadays, you can join. You got free membership, which doesn't really amount to too much, except for you can go on the website, and I guess it gives you a chance to submit your books at shows. But if you want to submit your book through the website, they got 3 different tiers. I'm not going to go into this. I'm not doing a recruiting video for CGC, but I'm just pointing out what the deal is. And so anyway, they had this 3-tier system, and with any of the pay versions, you can membership, you can go ahead and get your send in submissions using the website's own forms and such, and just print it out. Don't have to go anywhere else. You can just do it like that and then mail it off on your own. And they have those mailing kits. That box I just pointed out. The reason I'm pointing it out is they will send you a mailing kit of boxes that you can mail. And when you join membership, I think all 3 tiers give you a credit that allows you to buy one of those mailing kits. And the small one holds the 10 books, and I think they go up to 40 or whatever the next larger mailing kit. And I went ahead, because it was credited anyway, I just joining, I am paying for the yearly membership, you get one of those for free. I wanted to go ahead and get the materials that they would prefer you to send the box the way they prefer you to send it in, and the way they prefer you to pack it. And I watched their video about how to pack it. Years ago, whenever I first sent it, I didn't have any kind of information on that, but just common sense. I knew the well pack it and protect it and all, but not everybody uses common sense. I know that when they mail things, so I understand why CGC wanted to point out how you should probably do this. Um, and the funny thing is, they send they show you the picture, they show a box that says fragile on it, and that's contained within that larger box I showed you. Uh, but that's the fragile box, the one that you're supposed to put your stuff in and mail back to them. Now, I have two distinctions. One, mine didn't have the word fragile on it, and it was pre-printed on the boxes that I saw online and on the video and such. I know there might be differences and distinctions, but I just thought that's funny. Like, I guess they ran out of fragile boxes, so I got the less fancy one. But one thing is, if I had paid for this, I probably would have been irritated, even though it's not anything super valuable that was missing. But there was supposed to be another thing. There's two sheets of bubble wrap. There's technically three, but the one is supposed to be like a pocket thing you put the books in, and then below and above the books you sandwich them between these sheets. Well, you also put them inside a protective holder thing. But between them, you have these bubble wrap sheets, and the top one is supposed to be in there too, and it was missing. I had spare bubble wrap. As I said, I sell online for a living, so I do have extra packing material, and so that was no big deal, really. But it should have been in there. I mean, if you were paying. Now they throw in, like thanks for ordering the shipping kit. So I got a little form like that. They do give you a free pen. That's a CGC, so he gets that out of it. I guess you could fill out a form if you had a form that you didn't already print off the internet. But the funniest thing to me, and I should point out about the grades, if you're aware of CGC, like I said, the top grade is 10.0. It's a 1.0 to 10.0 scale. And 9.8 is considered usually the highest that most people can expect to grade it, because 10.0 is absolutely flawless, perfect, beautiful, gorgeous, no little ticks or anything. It's immaculate. And so it's rarer than spotting Bigfoot, apparently. It used to be they handed out 10.0s a little bit more easily in the early days, the way I understand it. And 9.9s is very nearly as rare. So 9.8s are usually the most common, highest grade you can get. Now keep that in mind, though. 9.8 is supposed to be the highest you can get, which is not to say that 9.8 is immaculate. And I'm bringing this up because first off, you do see people talk about 9.8s as if it's 10.0s these days. I remember back in the day, like I said, 10.0 was the one everybody chased, but since it's so impossible almost to get it, 9.8 is the one everybody settled on, but they seem to almost discuss it like it's 10.0, or to the point that some people expect 9.8s to be flawless and immaculate and all. It's supposed to be nearly so, very nearly so, but it's still not the most perfect, most immaculate condition book you can get graded. And the reason I bring all this up is because there's one little silly thing. I don't know why it's in here, unless you're just really hot for the grades. But they include the sticker. A sticker that says 9.8. It's oversized, because first off, my thought, and I talked with a friend about this just tonight about it too, was like, what's the point of that? Is that to encourage people to cheat and put it on there on the case? Obviously it wouldn't work, especially a knowledgeable person, to see the sticker. And it also won't work because, to be honest, this is larger than the grade on the case. But still, it's like, how hot are you for CGC that you give a damn about a sticker that's a 9.8? But what I even thought was more absurd about it is, why isn't 10.0? This feeds into the whole mentality that 9.8 is the standard top one that everybody wants. As I know, it's the one that most people expect they can get. It isn't the same as. So to me, it would make more sense to have given them a 10.0. Why do you do a 9.8? It just doesn't make sense. I don't know if you have a logical reason for it yourself, and if you know why, but But really, the only thing I can think of, like I said, it's the one that everybody tries for because they don't think they're going to get 10.0 regardless. And again, it's just CGC. That's CGC saying, "Yep, we're not going to give you 10.0 hardly at all, if at all." So they put out this like you're supposed to go, "Oh God, it's a sticker. This is 9.8," and that's like the dream. No, the dreams should still be 10.0 if you're worried about grade. I mean, if that's the whole point. And obviously, if you're paying for the thing, you want to get the highest grade, period. Even if my feeling is about grading comics, uh, and not being, make it more about the value and stuff. Even with that view, I still say, well, I mean, but if you're into it, or if you're into it, even just because of financial situation, whatever, I mean, you would think 10.0 would still be the top dog. So why? So I don't know. I just don't get why they're doing a 9.8 sticker. I don't get why they're doing a sticker at all. What's the whole point? I mean, I don't give a damn what the grade is. I'm not gonna put it on anything. What's the point? Is there somebody actually would? Oh my god! I got a 9.8 sticker. Yay! I'm more excited about the pen. It's not the most. It's not necessarily high quality, but it's a pen. I assume it works. I haven't even used it since I got this. Yeah, it's got some ink in it. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap up this video, but I was just wanting to mention that because, again, I it's the tricky thing where for me personally, because I don't care for the whole idea of just slamming a book when people can enjoy it and stuff. But I do appreciate that things go up in value. I mean, that's the whole point of my business, that and it is fun. Excuse me, it's fun to think that something will go up in value and become worth, it could be worth thousands or whatever dollars. But I mean, anybody's gonna like that. I mean, even when I was a kid, I never wanted to get rid of any of my comic books. I still wouldn't have if I had continued as a collector instead of segueing into being a dealer. Being a dealer, I had to make the sacrifice, and so I look at things differently for that reason nowadays. But as a collector, I wouldn't have wanted to slap my books, especially since I wouldn't have if I maintained that as being a collector, I wouldn't have wanted to sell my books. Even though there's always that part of any collector where even if you do plan to hold on to stuff, you still like the ideal that, oh wow, it's worth this much just because it is exciting on a certain level, but that shouldn't be the sole reason, the only reason you collect something. If you're going to do that, just go into stocks and bonds. I mean, if you're going to collect something, I always suggest that, like I said earlier, you collect what you enjoy. And but that said, since I did go ahead and take this plunge, because again, being a reseller, I do need to make the money. So it's a business thing for me, but it's a business of selling stuff I love, so I did send in 10 books. I'm not going to reveal what the 10 books are, and honestly 7 of them are the same book, same title, same issue number and title. But I think they're pretty nice grade books, and since I had a number of them, I thought, well, what the hell, I'll see how CGC does things these days and see what happens. So I'm going to create another video, unboxing video when I get those in. I sent them in, like I said, about a week or two ago. I understand it could take 3 months or more before they get sent back. Sometimes it's earlier than that, but I understand that seems to be an average of maybe around 3 months. So it may be a little bit before I get those books back. But when I do, I'm going to open them up on camera. I'm not going to look at the grades and do my own unboxing video just so you can see what they look like. And it may be like I said, the final time sending anything in. I'm always is a dichotomy the right word here? About what to do, because sure, I need to make as much money as I can selling certain items and stuff, because that's how I make my living, and pay for my food and lights and all. But there's that purist in me. It's always at odds. And plus it's just so expensive anyway, unless I got some ridiculously pricey book that's in great shape. I don't even know what's the point of sitting away waiting for months for it to come in. So I'm going to end this video now, especially before before it fills up this file size on my camera. I learned last video that it only runs for 30 something minutes anyway, and you're probably tired of me yammering as much as I'm tired of yammering on. So I'll talk to you next time, and if you're interested in checking out the unboxing video, it should be up as soon as I get them in. Yay! I'm going to turn this off now.